Sigma.
Gotta get those levels right.
I'm a Sigma. I go out. I don't even.
Here we go.
Man, swear.
Oh, fuck, blew it. Ready?
Man, swear. I mean, man, swear.
This time. Third time lucky. Go.
Man, swear. What? Man,
Wood right. Oh, nice.
Oh shit, that's formal.
Oh, it's formal. Welcome. Nice work, Hodgie. I'm pressing the buttons, and here we are with another Fu Man Swoo. And I was saying to you, Hodjo, before, is this our first four-way? I can't remember. Is it?
Yeah.
It is. Oh.
Yes, it
Ooh.
is. Yeah.
It is.
No,
This is-
Joel and Tim. We did Joel and Tim as well.
Oh, we did,
The
but not
Swapcasts.
on the video, though, eh? So this is
No.
the first video four-way. So it's quite cool. It's quite cool. So, hey, welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another Fu Man Swoo. And we've got two special guests currently living in the Wellington area. We have Floyd Smith down on the bottom left there. What's up? And we have Paul Grealish, aka Grelly. So welcome, lads. Welcome to the Fu Man Swoo.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, no worries. And of course, you got smelly old Hodjo up there on the top left,
Oh.
you know, doing his things.
Oh.
Hodjo, that grey hair is getting greyer by the day, my friend. How you feeling
Yeah.
about that?
Well, your shitty fucking background doesn't help.
Is that giving you stress, is it?
Come on, we've talked about it.
I know. Look, guys, just so you guys know, I live in a lower, what do they call it? Domicile? That's a word,
Decile.
isn't it? Decile, lower decile area on the West Coast. So, you know, I come from humble upbringings, and that's why
Oh
I've
my
got
god.
some
You're
random
just lazy. That's all it is. Dolan, don't give me this fucking povo excuse. Okay?
Yeah,
You're
true.
fucking growing up with an Irish silver spoon in your fucking mouth. All right?
Yeah,
Nothing
true.
about that. She's
Well,
just being a
that's-
lazy fuck.
Whereabouts in the West Coast?
Uh,
That's a good place.
Cobden, so Greymouth.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah,
famous Ogden.
Yeah, good old Cobbos and Greymouth. Yeah. What about you, Hodjo? Where you currently live, so you can let Grally know where you reside.
I reside in dirty old Christchurch now, Paul, but I lived on the West Coast for nearly 10 years of my life, so hence why I'm tied up with those scumbags over in Greymouth. And I'm interested, Paul, you ever been down to the mighty Blaketown Wedge yourself?
Shame to say no. Been to Christchurch many times, but not West Coast.
Oh, we'll have to get you over.
Yeah, mate. Open invite.
Yeah. When's the next comp?
It'll be an Easter again next year.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So, you know, secretly, I'm hoping that because me and McPake are coming up from little old Greymouth, I'm hoping that there might be like a little, you know, flow-on effect where
Back
some of you guys,
scratching.
some of you guys might want to come down for a long weekend in Easter, eh?
Sounds like a road trip, Floyd.
Yeah, I'll put my name down. Sign
Why
me up.
not, eh? Why
But
not?
we've done it at Easter because we seem to 2 years running we've got really good waves. The 2022 Easter, it was pumping the whole weekend, and then last year it was really fun too. And Easter seems to always line up really well on the coast, like a lot of all day offies, and we'll get some solid swell and good banks. So autumn's a real good time on the coast.
Usually it is. Disclaimer though, we can't just wrap our competition up in freaking fancy tinsel, because I think it was 3 years before the last 2 years. It was not very good. Not very
but
good.
we were running at a Waitangi weekend or a bloody Queen's birthday, Giles. It wasn't weekend.
Yeah, we did.
That's why we
yeah,
changed.
We did switch it up, but I think there was a couple of years where we did run in, or at least 1 year in Easter, where it was massive, huge swells, eh? Like, oh, it was terrible. It was one of those comps where you could see the forecast and you're like, oh well, I'm stuck with it. Because the thing with your comp, and we'll delve into your comp. This is, you know, one of the main reasons why we're chatting here today. But yeah, like your comp has the waiting period, which is a lovely thing, whereas our comp is, you know, it's stuck on 3 days. and you just gotta deal with Mother Nature, eh? Whatever she provides, and far out. I remember one year, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, and the forecast was there, and we still had a bit of optimism, but you wake up in the morning and you can just hear the ocean just going. And you're just like, oh God, this is going to be a tough day. And it was 12 foot whitewash as far as the eyes could see.
Wow.
But yeah, speaking of eyes, we did manage to pick some eyes out of it on certain tides. So look, and the key word is challenge, right? You guys have embraced that word in your guys' comp. So it is a challenge no matter what you do.
We were talking today about actually what happens if in the 6 weeks it didn't happen. Would we just do it on a Tuesday or Thursday, which would be pretty rough for a lot of people, especially out of towners, or do we just whack another 4 weeks on it and just pray for a Saturday or Sunday? So
yeah.
So what do you think?
Oh gosh, it's tricky. Like
survey.
I need to ask more questions. Like, how often does it break? So is it likely to run? Like, there's got to be. I guess it's good. Yeah, tell me.
Well, it's like now it's a piece of bloody string, really.
Yeah.
And it's like we've got rid of the La Nina easterly kind of pattern, which kind of was the last 3 years. Then it kind of switched to El Nino, whatever they call it, nor'west, and it went back to La Nina. But it looks like we've got nor'westers back, which is good. Good swell here next Tuesday, Wednesday, if you're up in Wellington.
Ooh.
But we're not calling the challenge on just yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, before we jump into the comp, let's get some background for those of listeners and viewers out there that don't know you. So let's start with you, Grealish, and then we'll jump over to Floyd. Just give us a current status. What are you up to? What's your life like at the moment?
Jesus, but it's like, how long you got?
Oh, mate, just give us a brief overview.
So I'm a boomer working in Wellington, doing commercial work in government, grinding my way through winter with the help of the little Breaker, one of the sponsors. So you owe me, Tom. So married, 2 dogs, one needy one old one. 2 children in their late 20s and early 30s. So yeah, I'm just enjoying being old.
Yeah. Cool. How long you been bugging for, Paul?
Me, so in my I grew up as a kind of the typical rugby cricket player, all day, every day, weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, and when I left secondary school, went to university, I think I had, just had enough. So I kind of started getting into sailing and started off surfing, stand-up surfing, went down Treble Cone, flew off a kind of cliff without a parachute and blew my knee apart, and got into bodyboarding from that in my kind of mid-20s. So, and haven't looked back. So, but be fair to say, casual or hobby versus our friend Floyd and yourself. So, but I suppose the lucky thing for me is that I live around the corner from Breaker Boog, 2 minutes drive, 2 minutes paddle. It's just so it's my kind of happy place, and just have been doing it for 25, close to 30 years, probably 28, 30 years. So.
Wow, that's so cool. So by default, you went to bodyboarding through an injury, but then you would have jumped in when it was like really starting to boom in the 90s, I guess, or late 80s, 90s on
Maybe
bodyboarding?
Late 80s.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I just wish I kept my old boards. I had a fiberglass board with the fiberglass fins, which kind of broke my nose one New Year's Eve, and it was going to kind of duck dive a wave and neck minute. And
yeah. Oh my God.
So, but, just casual, I think work and family, got in the way. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sick. And then you would have progressed with all the board development. And so let's talk about, what was your first like real board? What did you get onto? Was it like a Moray or a Manta or?
Oh my God, I honestly can't remember. We're talking a long time ago. So
Yeah.
I remember the fiberglass board, or my broken nose does, which still hasn't recovered. So there's just been all sorts. And as I said, I wish I kept a lot of them because they would be, worth a bit on the wall.
Yeah, they would be.
Yeah.
I got my first quad channel last year before a trip to Indo. So
Cool.
Are they cool? Those quad channels? Like I bought one a couple of years ago too, and especially I think for bigger guys, they've made quite a difference. I've really felt it in terms of just a little bit more projection and speed. If you're in decent waves, it's like more of a skippy. It's feeling like because you get like more lift. I feel when you're on the face of the wave. I've really enjoyed riding those. Yeah.
I've got mixed signals about them for me. I like them in heavy barreling waves. I feel like you get a little bit more drive when you're in the barrel, but I feel like in the smaller stuff, I don't like the quaddies. That's just me. What do you reckon, Floyd?
I haven't tried one, to be honest.
Ooh.
I'm keen to give someone's little board a ride at the challenge if there's a few around. But I don't know. I'm just happy with the standard template. Really, it works, and I don't know. I haven't deviated from it.
Do you just rock the normal channels or nothing?
Yeah, normal channels.
Yeah, cool.
Nose bulbs and everything else is pretty standard.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll never look back. I never look back. Eh?
Let's jump into.
I'm keen.
Let's have a chat with you, Floydie. So, what are you up to currently, bro?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm in Wellington. I've been here for 5 or 6 years, and I'm in the fire service at the moment. I just ticked over 2 years. So that's a pretty cool job, learning heaps. And before that, I've been a builder for at least 10 years. And yeah, moved down to Wellington because Missus is from down here and got a couple of young girls, 5 and 3. And so we've got some good support down here.
Oh, nice.
It's, everything's pretty close, It's a bit easier than living in Piha and trying to work in Auckland and do that whole fucking rat race thing. So I love the city, and it's a massive bonus that there's just ocean everywhere down here. It's 5 minutes and you're at the ocean no matter where you are. So I'm real stoked, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Wellington. It's my favorite city. Yeah. Sorry, you go, Hodge.
I was going to say, are you on the Boog regular, Floyd?
As regular as I can be. Yeah. Last few years have been tough, young kids. I'm sure you've all been through it. But I definitely feel like now in the last kind of year, I've been getting on the Boog a lot more than I have been. Doing a few more road trips around, and I get on the surfboard as well when it's not so good for the Boog. But man, that Breaker Bay is pretty consistent, and it's easily accessible, and it's just kind of reignited my passion for boogie boarding. So
that's sick.
Big bonus.
Yeah, nice. Who do you mainly surf with around the Wellington area, guys?
What was that, Grealish?
I was just going to say, Wellington is not the surf capital of New Zealand by any stretch compared to Piha and Gizzy and even, Blaketown and that. We don't get regular, every now and again we'll get a 4 or 5 day swell, but it's not as, as consistent as some other places. So, and that's why we kind of went for that 6-week window, so that, rather than your 3-day Easter comp that, we could never, it would just be you may as well go and buy some lotto tickets.
Yeah, we're lucky down here with swell.
We are, and we've run waiting period comps at Blaketown a couple of times before too, but we usually do it as a club competition because it's too hard for out of towners. But it's pretty cool to be able to do that with just our club comps, because then we get really fun sort of manageable waves.
We're going to do that again, aren't we, Hodgie?
Yeah, we are going to do that again.
Yeah. Sorry, Grealish?
We're really lucky because, like, Wellington board riders, they have just been so supportive of the kind of competition. Like, kind of it's been amazing. Like you kind of think stand-ups would just give it the old gut slider, blah blah. But these guys have been amazing, and they're kind of chairman, for want of a better word, Dave, is a surf kind of Nazi. He's got spreadsheets of wave history going back to the 90s and stuff like that. So, we're lucky to have him and predicting. So he's confident we're going to go. So yeah.
That's
I love
so
that.
cool. That's
Mm.
so cool to hear that. Like,
Mm.
far out. This day and age, yeah, you don't want to hear any of that bullshit, about freaking dick draggers and shark biscuits. Get it out.
I can't speak highly enough, like Sarah and other Dave, aka Manky Chops, skateboarder as well. Just, they're all going to turn up on the day and help. And, just we're using all the gear. Some of the sponsors have kindly helped us as well. Wellington Airport, Eastern Suburbs, so it's the inclusiveness is just, yeah, that's what's kind of really, kind of tickled my fancy in the whole kind of journey that we've been on.
Yeah, that's primo.
I got to say, I'm pretty blown away by your guys' efforts to attract sponsors and just build up a bit of, excitement around the comp, because we do our 20th anniversary comp will be in 2026, and it's for probably the last 5 or 6 we've been we used to get some big time sponsors, Giles, but now it's been quieter. I mean, it's just because mostly you organizing the whole damn thing, but we've sort of promised each other, me, you, and Mick Pake, that we'd all do it as a bit more of a committee for the Blacktown Challenge next year. But yeah, I just got to say, it pretty cool to see you guys putting in that effort, and it's definitely drummed up some excitement. And having, was it 23 entrants
24.
so far?
24.
24? I mean,
now,
yeah, well done. Yeah, it's awesome.
Should I kind of explain how it all kicked off? And
yeah,
more questions. So, like, Shark Island Challenge was, I can't remember when it was, but early part of the year they were kind of just Shark Island everything on Instagram, and I just said, I texted them on Instagram. I said, "We're the Kiwi entrants," because they had invited every man and his dog, all the teams and stuff, and the trials. And I just kind of, as a joke, maybe late at one night, just said, "We're the Kiwi, people." And they came back and said, "Oh, Sarah, okay. Well, who would you recommend?" And I went, "Oh shit!" So I kind of went to Floyd and Dunks and said, "You guys got any vids or something like that?" And they were all kind of shy guys. Of course, they haven't, or Duncan would have lost all his or couldn't find them. So it kind of petered off to nothing. And I was talking to Shark Island a little bit. I think Floyd and I, maybe Dunks, were just saying, talking about that. And then kind of next minute we go, "Why don't we just have a comp here?" Maybe we kind of thinking, well, maybe we could either use it as an entrance into the Shark Island Challenge next year, or even better, just kind of try and mirror the Shark Island, because Breaker Bay is a little bit closer, a little bit more friendlier, not as kind of hollow as Shark Island. So kind of, that's how it started, really. So
yeah, I thought
if you're going to do it, you're going to do it properly. So we thought we'd go grassroots, but then we thought, we put out a sponsorship pack. As I said, Wellington Board Riders, they helped, pointed us to a few directions, and Eastern Suburbs Sporting Trust, kind of AM and Co, Sprig, the local pub, got involved. So, if you do it right, it could potentially be a Shark Island Challenge at Breaker Bay.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. Was, did you guys get inspiration from Shark Island? Because it was obvious. God, who wasn't inspired by Shark Island? Coming back after, what was it, 4 or 6 years or something? It was just it was such a good hype train, eh? They really did a good job, as you guys have actually. Yeah, as you guys have with pumping it up. Social media is so important, and you guys have done a good job, and you've taken inspiration from Shark Island, and so you should have.
Yeah, and that's what we sent in the sponsorship packs. We just sent the Shark Island highlights, if you look at the first, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds, it's just heaps and heaps of people on Cronulla Point, just walking, just watching, signing autographs, eating food, blah, blah, blah. So, and like, well, if they can do it in Breaker Bay, it's not quite like Shark Island, but, it's still a spectacle, and it's got a better viewing platform on the beach.
Hell yeah, it's so close. It's so close, eh? So intimate. The car park's like right there. It's like freaking 100 meters and you're in the surf, taking off. It's such a good spot.
The car park's the worst place to watch it.
Okay.
You don't see the barrels, the venom, the power, the like that. So you can still get it, but when you get on the other side, that's when you really kind of see the.
Oh, do you mean like when you sort of walk around that little headland, that little black sandy beach, so you're sort of looking more towards in it rather than the car park? Yeah, gotcha.
Is that where you'll set up the comp, looking more into the wave, or will you be forced to go into the car park for your setup area?
The setup area, I think we haven't done the site plan yet, but the setup area will be in the car park, and we'll chuck the judges down the kind of path, which is kind of halfway, but it's it's good enough. You can see what's happening. You can see how people are getting. You can see the air, etc. So that's what the thinking is.
Yeah, because it's quite important, isn't it? Like the judge's point of view when you're looking at the wave, because if you go too far to the left, you can't see how deep they are in the barrel, and conversely, if you go too far to the right, you can't see them. All you see is them just bottom turn, and you'll miss a whole bunch of shit. So, yeah, you got to get sort of ideally right in front of it, don't you?
Yeah, the best place is the channel. You can't get a better kind of spot. Some of the photos you posted, and you can hear it and feel it and see it. That's the best place, and that's one thing Shark Island does well. They have 20, 30 groms in the channel just hooting, and that's the best place. But in front on the beach is as good a spot.
Yeah, the spectators will have a good show from the start of the beach, and there's quite a big knoll that sticks up, and so that can seat a lot of people up a little bit higher, but from the same view as the beach.
A grassy knoll, or just a plain old knoll?
Just rock, man. Wellington rock.
Volcanic knoll.
Better get the pack of seeds out there, Floyd. You stuck into it.
Cover the grey wacky.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, let's divert. I've got to get some background with Floyd, while Floyd's on the line. Let's talk about your little wee background story, Floydy. When did you get into booging? How old were you? Who were you hanging out with? Who was your crew?
Well, I grew up in Piha, and my mum and dad don't go in the ocean. Like, mum and dad moved to Piha because there was heaps of building going on, and he's a builder. So moved there. They still don't get in the water. They made me do surf life saving or nippers. Otherwise, I couldn't be in the water, and I just wanted to be surfing or boogie boarding, or just swimming in the water. So that was me, kind of thing. Surfing and boogie boarding most of my life, and just whenever it was heavy, I'd be on the lid. And there was quite a good crew in Piha when I was growing up. So like Gavin Murdoch, like Jethro, Steve Fortune was around as well, and then a couple of the older boys, Dave Wood. And then as I was kind of getting a bit older and starting to enjoy the heavier waves that Piha had to offer, that spot X around the corner started to get really good sand, and so that just took off, and that opened my eyes to what bodyboarding sort of was. And I just remember signing up to the Riptide, getting that every month, whatever it was, and I was like just completely in love with it.
Obsessed, eh?
Obsessed, yeah, that's what it was. And so I've never really lost that, but it's kind of been like, it's been a big change not boogie boarding heaps, and I've enjoyed it. Like I used to do heaps of comps, as you know, like when I was like 16 through to 18, 19, did heaps of comps around the country, and went overseas a bit as well, did a few comps over there, but then just didn't want to do it anymore, just wanted to free surf. So that's what I've been doing, and doing little road trips here and there. That's me.
Cool. Because you were in the I guess you were quite young when the tour in New Zealand was kicking ass, back in the day. Like there was 4 or 5 stops all over the country.
Yeah.
There was Dunno's, Blakeo's, Gizzy, Taranaki, Auckland. They were the main sort of 4 or 5, weren't they? And it was consistent. This is when K-Mac was at the helm and he was ripping shit up and, having some really coherent, an actual tour. And, we had a national champ, and this is back in the day when isolated.co.nz was pumping everyone up and the glory days, eh? And so you were quite young when that was sort of kicking off, eh?
Yeah, I was like a teenager.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got
Good timing.
an invite to the isolated comp, and that was pretty cool. Coming down,
Hell yeah.
flying down and meeting all the crew and getting taken down there and showing what's up. And then I'd never been on a reef break before that, so I was like, holy shit, let's go. Yeah,
Let's go.
And then after that, I was just kind of chasing reef breaks for ages. There's a few up far north that I was driving up for whenever it was on, and
in Blair Dowman's patch, or
yeah, maybe
ish,
somewhere around there.
Maybe.
ish,
yeah. And then they even tried to put that artificial reef in at the Mount. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
I remember that.
Yeah, so I was driving down like whenever there's swell, once a week or once every couple of weeks to go surf that, and then it just disappeared into the sand. But that was fun while it lasted. It was quite.
I remember
Did
that.
it work?
It worked for boogie waters for 6 months or a year, and then it disappeared.
Yeah,
it was like a full little like dredging slab, wasn't it, Floyd?
It was. Yeah, it was like 2 foot high on a 4 foot swell, but it was just straight onto this sandbag, basically onto a sandbag, and so surfers couldn't get near it.
Same thing happened on the Goldie, because when I was on the Goldie, there was an artificial reef, and it was the same technology. It was just a whole bunch of sandbags that they'd cobbled together, and it was right in surfers' paradise. But yeah, it only broke good for about the same amount of time, 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to the Gold Coast, it was no one hardly ever surfed it. Me and my friend Bradley paddled out, and it was fun, but it was, you could tell that the intended shape of the wave had fucked out. It was gone. Yeah. What a shame.
You guys done those wave pools in Aussie?
Just the urban surf one, eh? Have you guys had a
not yet.
Oh, you done urban surf, Grelly?
Yeah.
How good.
That's awesome. Like,
So
you absolutely
good, man.
knackered at the end of 1 hour.
Oh, dude, how's the current? Like, if you dip out early, it's so hard to like paddle back to the little channel, eh? Yeah, you've really got to ride it right to the end of the wave, otherwise you get stuck in the stupid current.
Yeah, but they're pretty good,
Really good. On that though, I feel like the Sydney one, geez, they dropped the ball there because it looks like it's just a fraction smaller. Like it's still got the shape, right? It's still hollow lefts and rights, but for me it looked, and I've heard some podcasts talking about it, that it's, oh God, you'd think that, I don't know, don't you just want to progress the tech, and obviously there's lots of issues with that, trying to make a wave bigger, more water, lots of things going on. But yeah, the Sydney one, I feel like it's kind of, let's see.
I've done the Melbourne one a couple of times, and wouldn't want to dial. Well, you could dial it up a little bit, but if you doubled it, kind of landing's quite shallow there at times. So
yeah, what are you going to do if you hit the concrete pad on a 4-footer? That's going to be hectic. I'm psyched about the Auckland one though. Like, I hope that they dial up the tech, but we'll see. It's still a couple of years away.
Or were you on the Isolated website back in the day?
Me?
Yeah.
But I've never done a comp, never, got close to one. I don't think I've ever seen a bodyboarding comp, actually.
What was your username back in the day, Grelly?
Yeah.
Just give me a minute. I'll just kind of
have a think.
Hope it wasn't bionic, eh? Nah, just kidding. It's an inside joke. Floyd might know what that is.
Yeah, bionic. Yeah, it was amazing. No. There's actually a story. Yeah, there was a story on Isolated about Breaker Bay. I remember this really distinctly. and there was a Polynesian guy that used to surf Breaker Boog. I don't know if he still does. He was a book.
Big Dan. Yeah.
Dan. And I don't know, we can cut this out if you don't, if you think it's not good for me to put it on there. But basically, someone had posted on Dan, on Isolated, calling him out, and then Dan said, "You still owe me some wax from me embedding my board in your face, cunt." And it was this whole thread about Dan destroying some blow-in, and they'd had a scrap in the car park there, and Dan had ended up like lodging his board in the guy's mouth.
Dan the man.
Crikey, well, I live around the corner. I haven't heard that one, but Dan Philly, he's like a 6 foot. Excuse me, Dan, if you're listening, but call him 6'3" or 5. He's a big kind of Tongan lad, and he used to love surfing that place. Him and me used to surf it, and he used to break our ribs together. And he kind of, such a big guy, he'd never have, sometimes not have his wetsuit. He just wouldn't. He'd just surf it with a rashi and stuff.
Wow.
All winter. So, but you wouldn't want to mess with him. That's for sure.
Yeah, he used to be. I remember he was really active on Isolated, and he had really good stories. And
he
seemed
just
like a real good dude.
Loved Breaker Boog, and just and it's it's a happy place for a lot of people. It's pretty gnarly and can cause a bit of damage, but it is a happy place. So yeah,
that's
why
cool.
we love it.
Love it. Hey, back to Floydie. Sorry, this is not the Floyd show, but
I think my username was Pink, but it's been so
Pink.
long.
I think I remember that.
Like his mech suit at the moment.
Oh, okay.
It's quite nice.
Floydie, back in the day, what was your, out of all those, like the highlight years for you, what was, because I think you might have won a couple of comps or like had some good results. What for you out of that whole sort of golden era was like a really cool memory for you?
The Isolated challenge was right up there.
Yeah, cool.
And I just wish I'd been a bit older and been a bit more confident on reef breaks.
Yeah.
But I reckon there's the two that were like my highlight in the competitive scene were probably when I went to Australia with the Kiwi team and I won the under 18 division of the Australasian thing. So that was pretty cool because we just went over there for the first time as a team. I won that. And then we won the teams challenge as well. And the Aussies were just like, what the fuck has happened? But the other one is, it was one of the Blaketown comps and I won that.
Yep.
And
you certainly did.
I remember the party afterwards. Well, I kind of remember the party afterwards. And it was just so good. I've still got the rock that's carved out like the Blaketown challenge.
Yeah.
I reckon that was just like the classic quintessential New Zealand bug comp. That was epic.
What year was that? Because everything's just a blur to me. But I remember seeing your name on the trophy, and you were lucky because we have the trophy that. Well, currently we have the trophy that just goes around, and you win it, you give it back, and then the next person wins it. But that year that you won it, we got one of the local jade carvers to carve that rock, and it was so unique and special. So yeah, really stoked.
Yeah, no,
what year was that?
I reckon. I don't know, mate.
Was it 09 or was it after that?
Can I use my elephant brain?
Yes, elephant man, go.
I think it was 2007.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was 2007 because
the year after the year after Lowy won, because I know Lowy won in 06.
Mardo won in 08.
Wellsy won in Frank won the first one in 04.
Yeah.
Wellsy in 05, Lowy in 06. Maybe it was Floyd in 07.
Yep.
Yeah.
That fits.
And then,
does that fit for you? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it does, but I can't confirm.
My brain knows. Just sucks.
It's quite a long time ago.
It
was. Yeah.
Oh, those years, Paul. Like I was just getting into
Grommy,
the
Grommy.
No, I wasn't a Grom around 07, but 04. 04 I finished high school, and that was when the first Isolated comp was down in the Catlins. And me and my mate, I've told the story before on Swoo, but we were so fucking keen. We just followed them down there. and we'll just like rock up at random spots and be like, can we surf here too? And they
Oh,
were all
groupies,
like,
eh?
we were
So
like-
good.
they were like, fuck off. And but that scene from I reckon 04, 03, 04, right through till probably 2010, because of the isolated comp and the website, it was incredibly strong. You know,
we used to have like photographers, like 2 or 3 photographers at Breaker Bay. You know, good old Kane. You know, look at him now. You know, there was him plus 2 or 3. It was just isolated. That was one of the things we talked about. Was like, just imagine reviving isolated again. I don't,
Kane's doing.
I don't know who owns isolated, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the IP is probably with Goose and Gardiner, probably, I'd imagine.
You mean for the isolated challenge itself?
No.
Sorry, I mean the isolated
and the website.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Well, that's Paulus. Yeah,
that's Paulus for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, we interviewed Paulus on this potty. Or I interviewed Paulus on this potty, so you can go back and listen to that one.
pH 5.5.
pH 5.5. He's that was his good
I
word.
remember that now.
You got a bit of an elephant brain too, Floyd. Well done.
It's weird shit.
Embrace it, mate. Embrace it. I've learned to embrace it.
Yeah.
Now, what I was going to say is that's why we started this podcast as well. Well, we started it back in 2017, was because things like the isolated challenge and our comp scene and stuff had died by then. And me and Joel and we're having beers one night. I said, why don't we start a podcast just for the sake of it, to, keep something alive with the New Zealand booging. And we've done bits and bobs here, fairly inconsistent, but yeah, we just do it for the love of it, really.
Yeah, there's no monetary, there's no sponsors bloody banging on the doors or anything, but it's just a bit of fun, we try and have a yarn every 3 or 4 weeks, pretty much.
We do have a rather active Patreon. Hang on.
Patreon plug. Plug the
I
Patreon.
saw
Let's
that.
go.
Yeah. It's got thousands in it, hasn't it?
Oh, thousands, mate. We're millionaires.
We're going to quit our job soon.
Yeah. But we're able to get the content. A lot of the content we can't do on like publicly, we'll get on there, and the boys that are on there enjoy it. So just a little plug for the Patos.
Just a little small plug.
Just a little plug.
Small plug. There's 3 tiers. There's 3 tiers. So it's not a huge monetary investment. If you just want to jump in and see some extra content and random shit, it's a little plug.
I'll make sure that Jolan and Ben McPake do a not safe for work behind the scenes sort of video, like vlog of their trip to Breaker Bay as well. There might be a lot of, definitely not for safe for work content going on
behind
there.
the paywall.
Are you not coming up, Joe?
I'm going to try. I'm just flat broke, but I am going to try.
Yeah, Hodjo's just come back from an Australia trip, family trip, so his monetary funds are depleted, you might say.
Definitely. When you guys call it on, I'm going to probably try and jump on the ferry and get up there with you guys. Yeah.
So let's get back to that. So is the plan going to be let everyone know on like the Monday leading up to the Saturday? Is that the plan?
We'll let you know as soon as we know, as soon as possible, like kind of respecting the blow-ins, as Floyd calls it, but I've kind of got a little bit more respect out of towners. So, they're serious, like without the out of towners, the blow-ins, whatever you want to call yourselves, I think it really adds to the kind of the spectacle. So the amount of notice we can give you, the more we can give you, the better. So, and that's why we're trying to get as many prizes, just to, at least to get a t-shirt, a poster, and a good chance to get a board or a weekend crewy, whatever. So,
yeah, man.
So we're trying to kind of look at it from a Thursday, the kind of the week in front, it's just like Wellington, New Zealand weather, it chops and changes, it's all over the show. And, when we first looked at it last weekend, it actually looked quite good on the 24th, but it's turned to custard, and the 24th is now the 22nd or something like that. So as much notice as we can give everyone. I'll put a little news sheet out to everyone just explaining the thinking and that. So hopefully Saturday, Sunday, Monday, worst case.
Cool.
Yeah, nice.
You might want to implement the old orange light kind of hey, we're on high alert. This could be the weekend,
Yeah, Floyd's our social media kind of expert. So
yes.
You got that, Floyd?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. I'm quite glad that it's not on the 24th because we're not quite there. We're quite well down the way, but there's a few things to tidy up.
The only thing that I'm hoping it doesn't run on is obviously the All Blacks versus Australia weekend, because I don't know if you guys know, the accommodation is tapped that weekend, and that's the weekend of the 28th. So that might be the last weekend of the window.
September,
you guys?
So September
29th, yeah.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, that's a heavy weekend in Wellington.
Well,
but hey, we can't. Hey, if it's going to be good, whatever, we've still got to do it.
Well, seriously, like all the Wellingtonians, like me, Floyd, Dunks, etc., we're more than happy putting people out. Just the fact you're getting here, we don't want you spending heaps more money on hotels, and unless you really want to, and obviously.
Yeah.
But we're more than happy to put you up, and there's plenty of beds around. So
yeah, when McPake's listening, I shotgun that couch behind Growly there, that grey one, and I shotgun those two pillows. McPake, so don't
we've got
get ideas.
Got real beds.
McPake can go outside. He'll be right.
Yeah, get him outside. He's a mangy old Blaketown dog.
Yeah. Dirty old Blaketown local. Get rid of him.
Kennel. Give him a little.
Do you reckon you guys will fly, or would you drive?
Nah, bro, we're doing the drive. We're doing the big old Hickory. Yeah. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, man. It's good to have. I've got a work car, so it's good to have a good old waka that we can just drive up. So I've already booked my tickets for next weekend, and then I bought the old flexi ticket. So it's just like, I'll just change them for another week out, and then as soon as we get the orange/green light, we'll just dial it in. So our plans are to come up on a Friday, and then cruise out on the Monday. So we're locked in for the whole weekend, boys. You.
Oh.
Can't wait. It's gonna be sick.
Just Mother Nature, do your thing.
Exactly.
So it looks like Breaker Boog will be pretty good Tuesday, Wednesday next week, won't it? But it's not in the window.
Well, no, it's not in the window. But we want to make it a Saturday, preferably a Saturday, so you can come up on a Friday, do the Saturday, just chill out on the Sunday. Drive back, ferry back, and stuff like that. So that's the ideal. And as I said, I don't know if we were recording, I think just talking this morning, I think if we don't get it in the 6 weeks, we'll just bang out another 4 weeks. We don't need permits or anything.
Yeah.
Just turn up, block the car park, just keep extending it. Or the other option is to kind of do it on a Tuesday or Wednesday, but I just imagine that's going to be a pain in the ass for everyone working. Yeah. So we'll just extend it until we get the perfect Saturday. So
I think it's a pretty cool way.
Yeah, it would be. What's the best swell direction for Breaker? What's the best tide? When does it really showcase itself as like the little slab it can be?
Okay, that's my question then. Floyd, do you want to? Should we tell the blow-ins? Should we tell the blow-ins, or should we just
keep it vague? Keep it vague so don't get all the blow-ins.
It works very well on full tide. Every swell's different. Yeah. Southerly, southeast, south. If it gets too southwest, it kind of comes in at the car park, which is a bit, close out. So every swell's different. But ideally, south or southeast, a little bit of southwest. The period makes a big difference. The tide makes a huge difference. It can go from, virtually flat or a foot to 3 foot after an hour and a half of incoming tide. So, it's just, there's some general rules that you can apply to it, but it's just so varied, so.
I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited. It sounds very similar to
Yeah.
Shark Island, with regards to tidal, swell direction, period. Very similar.
But yeah, like on a high tide, you'd think it would just be a mess, and it kind of the wave comes in closer to the reef. But sometimes it just gets really hollow, but it is kind of like right on the reef, so you just got to be a little bit kind of careful. So, but everything's different. So yeah, beggars can't be choosers. But I think learning from Shark Island, I think especially the last one, there was a lot of hype about it, but there was a lot of dicking around. So we just got to get the right, we're going to really concentrate on getting the right swell rather than just kind of being desperado and just kind of picking something that we'll hope for. But, it's Mother Nature, you can't control her.
So true.
Is it quite a ticky? It's quite a ticky sort of wave, isn't it? It's not like a super throaty open barrel right at the start, but it's like quite a ticky wave at the start, but it can hollow out right at the end, or how does it work?
It can do both of those. It can do lots of different things, especially like on the lower tides, the end section can shut down a lot because it is really shallow. So with the kind of bigger swells, it'll break a little bit better on the higher tide, and then that last section is more open. And with the bigger swells, you get more windows of like not the biggest waves in the set, like the ones either side. So you get more waves when it's bigger, but then you get the wash throughs come through over the rock, which kind of washes the whole place out. So like if it's a bit smaller, that's good, but if it's a bit bigger, that's great as well. It's
So what's sorry, Paul, you go.
There could be like 2 or 3 different kind of swells coming in at any one time. There's kind of wider ones. There's, in front of the rock is the classic takeoff place, but, many times you can go to the left, big dogger, or, they come through and, to the whatever that side is. So, it's not a consistent, wave pool. You've got to, keep your wits about you, and, the big roll throughs aren't as hollow. I always think the 75%, ones are the best, shape. And we're quite happy to tell because, before, it'd be a bit unfair for the out-of-towners coming in, try and do it, completely blank. So what we're thinking is, getting a few, of the locals go out for the first heat. So at least, the out-of-towners can have a look to, see what, where to sit and, what's happening.
I reckon we should do it the other way. Put all the virgins out first.
Well,
that's a good point.
I've been surfing Breaker Bay back since 2003. I'll have you know, and I remember. Do you remember me, Paul, back then, 2003?
I've been concussed a few times. You might remember me, but sorry.
I only surfed it a handful of times. I lived in Wellington briefly in 2003, and then I found Breaker Bay just by accident. I was like, oh God, thank God, my savior is here. And I have fond memories of surfing that place and just getting that amp when, like, because when the set comes, when a good wave's coming, you see that rock and the wash goes over the rock, and you're like, oh yes, this next one's gonna be a goodie. So yeah, don't chuck me in the first heat, but
No. Well, that's just my thinking. I haven't talked to Floyd and Dunks about it, but I think it would only be fair. But the telltales, we'll talk about the telltales out at propellers, bearing head, or what do they call that? Barrett's Reef, and the mid reef. There's all sorts of things that you can look at to see what's coming. When the sky goes black, that's when you start panicking.
Yes.
There's not much there's not much current out there either, so you can most of the time sit there and you're just waiting. So it's not like you got to hustle with the guys next to you to sit in the right spot. You're just taking your turn, which I think will happen in this comp. Like there might be a little bit of a hass, but I think priority will just work itself out, and
that's
we'll
what I was going to
out there taking turns.
That's what I was going to talk about, because that's always a tricky thing is priority in a comp. And at Blaketown, because it's similarly a right-hand wave, there's basically an unspoken rule. It's different at Breaker because you actually paddle out, to the left of the right hand braking wave, whereas at Blaketown you do the opposite. So it's fucking confusing because like you paddle out the rip by the rocks and then you're instantly in number one position, whereas at Breaker you're going this way. So it should naturally, get some sort of rhythm. And I'd suggest just the good old faithful paper scissors rock for the start of the heat. It always works, but some people can be ultra competitive and like, nah, I'm gonna fucking hassle you boys.
Jason,
What are your thoughts on priority? Are you just going to let it roll or what?
Contest director, you can talk about that.
Is that me? Is it?
Yeah.
We're in the middle of a committee now.
No, I think we'll have a priority board up there.
Cool.
Well, we definitely got priority boards. Wellington board
sick.
riders, thank you. So we got 4 colours. We've even got the colours chosen. So
that's probably going to be a first in New Zealand boggin, I reckon.
Yeah,
it's going to be so because like we don't even wear rashies at the Blaketown Challenge anymore.
Oh, we got rashies. We got rashies. We got a lot.
We haven't worn the
rashies
rashies for like 10 years. We're like, fuck it. We all know each other. No priority.
Yeah, we're that cruisy now. We just don't even do rashies because most people are like, I hate wearing rashies, and then we're like, yeah, me too. Let's just go out. We know we can see you.
We'll work it out. We'll work it out.
Then you get the sun glare at like 5 o'clock, and you're like, who's that? 2 yellow boards in the same heat. Diabolical. I need to piss. So do you want to take over, or should we have a quick 2-minute pause?
Let's have a piss break.
Let's have a piss break, eh?
Pause it.
2 minutes. Pause it, Hodgie. Back in a sec.
Remind me to start recording again.
Record.
Yeah, fuck Sam Wells.
Yeah, fuck Sam Wells.
Fuck Sam Wells.
We're back from our piss break, and we're just talking about potentially other riders coming to the comp. Wellsy, he might have missed the cut. Actually, my bad. I feel bad because I've been wanting to ring him for weeks now to try and fizz him up to come up because I know he's so competitive and he loves right-handers, especially barreling, sectiony right-handers. So yeah, he'd go good at this comp. But hey, he might have snoozed and loosed.
Did he not see all the social media that Floyd put
Sure
together?
He would have. I'm sure he would have. So that's on
Hopefully
him.
People will pull out.
Yeah.
You'll probably like that's the other thing that always happens with the comps too, is people register and then unfortunately like can't make it for some reason too. So you have some late notice replacements and
that.
Yeah. And you'll have a wait list, so that's
happens.
a good thing, eh?
Yeah. I throw my name on the wait list for sure. I better put up some dosh.
You better. You don't have to pay when you're on the wait list. It's when you join the kind of 24 is when you pay. So
do you mean heavy wait list? Did you, or just wait list?
Mate, you're obese before me, pal. You fat fuck.
I'm definitely chubs.
You'll chub up. Now, I just thought, perhaps would you guys want to give the comps sponsors a quick shout out while we're on here too?
Before we get into the sponsors, I want to do a big shout out to Grealish because he's put so many hours in already. His networking skills are incredible, and he's got most of the sponsors cough up real quick. So well done, Grealish.
Grealish. Awesome.
No. It's a team game. Like I might have had a kind of a wild thought one night, but like I couldn't do it without Floyd, Dunks, and Ange, and kind of Jason as well too. So
Jesus,
who's Jace?
Spence.
Oh, Spino, yeah, of course. Boogie Jesus. He's the froth lord.
I've had some epic battles with Boogie Jesus at the Blaketown Challenge. Yeah.
They have actually. They've had some good quarterfinal, semi-final battles actually.
He's a machine. Like I met him, I don't know, 6-9 months ago, and he just drove down from Auckland, and he just saw that there was a south swell coming, and then just drove back. And he's not Auckland; he's like way north of Auckland, so he's a machine on his wheels. That's for sure. So
yeah,
Spino is the core lord of all core lords.
He really is.
Yeah, I did a trip over the coast by myself, and I walked out to the break to check it, and there's this guy standing there, and I was checking it, and it's kind of pumping, but not that pumping. And then it just started to get real good. And I was talking to this guy, and I'd never met him before. And all of a sudden I was like, I know who you are because of the New Zealand boogie board scene. And it was just like, holy shit, all right, we're out there together, and we just had a pretty cool surf together.
Yeah.
And he'd driven down from Auckland to surf the bottom of the North Island by himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy, eh?
Yeah.
He's done some massive hickoys down to Blaketown, and yeah, it was so
even,
special.
even further. So
Yeah,
Riverton. He's been to fucking
Catlins.
Riverton. Yeah.
Yeah. And he, you know, I think was it his second or third year he came down to Blaketown, he won it, which was special, very special.
Won't stop him from accusing us of corrupt judging though. And that got through to us from Steve Fortune. And we had a field day with Jason Spence winding him up about corrupt judging.
Yes. Oh, Steve-O is a fucking he's a shit stirrer, man. He's a shit stirrer on Steve.
So he's another sponsor. He's donating a boogie board for us to
Steve
kindly give away. Yeah.
Boogie Bar.
Boogie Bar.
Boogie Bar, yeah.
Boogie Bar.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
And
so good.
Hopefully he's hooked up. Do you know if he's hooked up with Real Surf? That's the kind of surf shop in Lyle Bay.
He was meant to have. So,
Yeah,
Steve,
so-
if you're watching,
So
Can we
should've done
offer a $200 cash prize under the Fu Man Swoo banner?
Yes.
We've got $200 in our Patreon account. We can contribute as a cash prize.
You've
Well,
said it, but have you asked our Patreons? They might not be keen. Too
Fuck
late.
them.
They've already given us the money, so
They got no say in it.
yeah.
why don't you put that towards you coming up, and you can be the commentator?
Yeah.
Yes. Me and Pakey have actually had some private chats, and Pakey actually hit me up a couple of days ago, and he's like, "Oh, is there any money in the Blaketown Bodyboarders Club account?"
No,
I
because
was
you,
like, "Nah,
you
mate,
bloody
fuck
siphoned
that."
it all off for piss.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. No, it's a great idea, Hodjo. It's a great idea. Let's do
Now,
it.
please
Let's do it.
put us down as a sponsor, please, guys, and I'll send you
Sick.
our logo and
Get our logo on there. Yes.
yeah, we'll check
We
it.
just literally took delivery of the posters of the comp poster and then just all the kind of logos behind it.
Well, it's too late now, Hodjo. Pull the money out. Pull it out.
We're pulling out, and I'm cancelling the podcast.
Stop recording.
Delete.
Why didn't we do this
Delete.
last week, Floyd? We would have put you in there.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get
Yeah.
some stickers, some Fu Manchu stickers, and
We should have some Fu Man Swoo stickers actually.
And
Joel.
T-shirts. I've been thinking about merch for ages, actually. We should get some
come on,
merch on the
mate.
go. Come on,
Well,
mate.
Come on,
Stickers would be
our
good.
top tier Patreons should
There's no
at least
cars.
get a T-shirt.
I've got hats
Ooh.
too. Hey, let's keep going with the sponos. Rattle them off. Who we
Yeah,
got?
please, Sponos.
We got Real
Pump
Surf.
them up.
Cool.
So Real Surf is really good. Yeah. Sorry, you go.
No, you go, Grealish. You got the list.
I'm just looking for it actually, but no, Real Surf. They've been Lyle institution and very supportive. They, if you're a competitor and you forgot your wetsuit or your helmet, or you want a helmet, when you see the rocks or something, they'll just do some special deals. So they're one of our kind of loyal sponsors for Wellington board riders and the challenge. And do you want to talk about your two?
Yep, we got what do we have? The Firefighter Welfare Society have donated a couple hundred to go
Nice.
towards prizes.
Cool.
We've got a company called AM & Co who've donated a good amount of cash to support, even though they're not really in the boogie board scene. It's just a local company, so give them a follow if you can. And we've got also Wildfinder over on the other coast on Eastbourne. So they have like e-bike hire with surfboard racks, and so they've given 4 of those prizes to us as prizes to give out to whoever we want. So we might do some spot prizes at the prize giving at the bar for a couple of
Man.
those.
I love that.
Nice.
I was looking at your prize list too. God, it's looking tasty, eh? It's looking tasty. So $750 for first place, $500 for second, $250 for third, $100 for fourth, science bodyboard, the e-bike board racks that you're talking about, vouchers, and some extra vouchers and medical kits, plus the crewy accommodation. Talk about the crewy accommodation, Grelly. That sounds freaking tantalizing, man.
I kind of had a midlife crisis a few years ago, and
awesome.
And this was during my kind of back pain era, and ended up buying a plot of land in Crewe, right on the beach. It's a little bit up from the peak, and leftovers. I think you saw literally that picture that got posted a few days ago. You just
that
walk
left-hander.
out.
Wow.
You walk out the door, walk across the grass, 20, 30 meters across the beach, and then paddle through the lagoon, and whack, you're there. So it'd be only fair to offer a week's accommodation there. So happy to do that, just to kind of make it a worthwhile event.
Oh man, that's epic. So did you buy the accommodation? You'd been to Indo before, or did you just be like, snap decision, nah, I'm just going to buy this plot right in front of Crewe? Or down the road? So
like, we're going back a few years now, but like there's a few of us, I think Dan, Philly included, we thought, okay, well, we're just getting into bodyboarding, and we kind of conquered Breaker Boog, so let's kind of get to the next frontier. And so I thought, let's go to Indo, go to the Mentawis. But then I can't remember who, but they said, what about this, secret Sumatra? And that's right back early secret Sumatra days. So we ended up going there, and it was just, really good fun. Like, as I said, it's a real hobby for me. So for me, when I get out bodyboarding, it's just, when I go away for a holiday and we end up going there, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 times. And one of the trips, we befriended an Indonesian guy, Shandy, and ended up buying some land with Danny War, who I think you guys talked about in your last podcast. So we bought some land, bought the land with Shandy, built a couple of houses, which were kind of turned to custard because Shandy didn't really know how to kind of understand the building kind of scene, and kind of my back was all over the show, so I couldn't go over there and help out. But we've resurrected it, and got some nice accommodation which has been built, and looking forward to people using it.
Wow, it's amazing. Where is Danny War these days? I had a couple of weeks in Portugal with him many years ago, but I've lost touch with him.
Danny is in Melbourne, in the kind of outskirts and the kind of foresty bits. Can't remember the name now, but he's actually in Bali at the moment with his partner and his kind of very young child. So he's enjoying that. So he's got some serious ear problems. So I don't think he's been on the book for a while. So he's been right into kind of hang gliding and some other wild stuff.
Cool.
What do you guys think about the list of competitors? Hodjo, you probably haven't even seen the list because you're not privy to that, because only entrants can see other entrants, which is quite exciting actually. You can kind of size up your opponents, which is fun. But yeah, who's winning this fucker? Who's gonna take the trophy? Who's gonna
my money?
Apart from me and Floyd, obviously, we should probably take our names out of it.
Oh, yeah. I might even not go on it if other people want to enter.
Don't be silly. Get into it, son. Get into it. That competitive fire is still there. I know it is.
I reckon Ahi will take it if he turns up.
Yeah, he's in my top. He's definitely in my top 3.
Yeah, he's always been just such a good waterman. Just so confident. So
totally agree.
Yeah, he's my vote. But I mean, there's a lot of high caliber people. I'm just looking at it now. So there's probably about 10 people who I'd be happy to put money on if anyone wants to make the odds.
Yeah, obviously an easy horse to back would be Dunk for me. Yeah, Dunk for sure.
I think if your last name's Smith, you'd be in with a shout. If you just could bet on Smith, you'd be good money. But you know, like Breaker, you know, like any surf comp is reliance on the waves and Mother bloody nature. So, you know, and Breaker, you know, can go quiet at times, you know, high tide, low tide, mid tide. You know, it is, you know, there's a lot of water coming out of the harbour and, you know, big swells. It just needs time to readjust and that. So I just say anyone could go. I'm just looking at like Matt Robert Beatty, number 22. Like I used to surf a lot with him and he used to kind of rip that place. Cool. Rob, you know, he was out there a couple of weeks ago. He kind of ripping it. So it's just, you know, anyone.
Yeah, I want to see some underground Breaker Bay locals. That's what I'm keen to see. It'll be awesome.
The thing that I suppose I won't say concerns me, but it's just we don't see the, you know, the young fellas, the 18, 22-year-olds. It's just I don't know what it's like down your neck of the woods, but there's not many on the Boog in Wellington.
Same
that
here.
I'm seeing. And that's
Same
just
here.
a real shame. You know, I'd almost sponsor one to enter in the competition. But it's just that's you know, Duncan's got his kind of party, or Davey and Logan and that, but they're all freaking, you know, grown men with kids now. So
yeah.
No, same down here. Sorry, Hodge. I'll just quickly jump in. We've got 2 grommets at Blakedown, literally 2. So 2 is better than 0.
Yep.
But that's our current state of play on the West Coast. Oh, sorry, in Greymouth 2. Go, Hodgie.
Oh, I think we've talked about it. We talk about it a bunch on the podcast quite a bit, Paul, but I think the generation to replace us never came through with booging. And I actually see it with stand-up surfing too. I think there's way less groms on even stand-up surfing now that I'm seeing. And Christchurch is a big surf town. You know, it's like an easy place to learn to surf. Waves are shit. You know, they're not scary. And I don't see anywhere near as many groms as, say, back in the late 90s, or, you know, they're just not there. I think, I don't know what it is, but about Kiwi, this new generation, but they're just not interested in the water anywhere near as much as we were. I think there's
so many factors, bro. I've talked about it before, but I think media coverage isn't there, like mainstream media. I remember being a teenager and you could still see surfing or bodyboarding like on TV, you know, like freaking TV2 or TV1, the news, there'd be like a news article on Pipeline and you'd see bodyboarders and you're like, what the fuck? Bodyboarding's on TV, and you'd blow out. And then like that could inspire next gen, but you never see it. Like I guess you do see stand-up surfing, especially in the latest with the Olympics with Billy Stearman, and I forget the female's name, sorry to you. But yeah, there's a bit of media coverage, but yeah, I just feel like it's, especially with social media, right? You know, you get your algorithms and you just sort of get locked into what you like. You know, you don't watch any other media apart from your TikToks and your Instagram. So it's like
echo chambers.
You do, exactly. You get sort of stuck in your little hole, which is kind of sucky.
Every time I go back to Piha, there's groms everywhere surfing.
Oh,
but
that's good to hear.
None that are bodyboarding around the country. Like I don't see any. So I think we're a dying breed, boys.
No, I agree. I think in social media, there's placed so much emphasis on everything you do has to be cool or perceived to be cool. So if you're posting on Instagram about boogie boarding, you're just going to get ripped, you know. And so I think there's that whole different perception that kids take now, and they're not going to do anything that's not perceived as cool because they're going to post about it. You know,
that was back when we were getting into boogie boarding as well. There's the brands called like Rejected, and it was like you're going against the grain, skid lids and shit. You know, like that was part of it.
That was the whole culture was to buy into it, right? Like it was part of the what do you call them? The kids from the wrong side of the tracks, or the weird kids. And we've talked about it heaps, Floyd. We've we're all a bunch of misfits. Hey, you know, everybody that boogs is a misfit in some way. And it's quite interesting when we all get together because it can get pretty wild, especially when we're younger, you know.
That's what I was saying before. Like Wellington board riders have like they have been so inclusive. Everyone, some of the hardcore stand-ups at Breaker Boog just said, yeah, shit, great. No one has actually questioned or, given shit about, the whole competition. It's just been, so, positive, but that's not translating into, young 18, 20-year-old Groms coming through the ranks. So, which is, and hopefully, if we do this right and we make it regular and, have a little, national comp or whatever, might happen. But yeah.
Are we bringing back a national tour, maybe?
Oh,
Are we bringing back a national tour? Or can we at least crown a fucking national champ, maybe?
Nat Champ. Do you remember Nat Champ on Isolated?
Oh, no, yeah, Nat Champ on Isolated was so funny back in the day. But because that can tie into stoking the next generation, right? Because you can put your name towards a freaking weighty title. So why not? Far out. What do we got now? We got Blakeos, Breakers, Auckland, Taranaki. That's 4 comps.
That's not bad.
That's 4 comps that are regular. If you guys continue next year, I'm sure you'll be stoked to keep going. What I've got inspired from you guys is 2 things. Is the live heats tech. We should have been doing that years ago, but I love that because it's so simple. You just you lock in, you pay your money, you see everyone's there. And the second thing is actually having a number of competitors, because every year for us, we're like, who's turning up this year? And then we write names down and we're like, oh yeah, he said yes. Oh, he's maybe, and then like all of a sudden you get to freaking the day before the comp or the day of the comp and you're like, oh, we've got 15 bodyboarders. And you're like, oh, fuck, that's a terrible number. Or you might get something like 11. You're like, oh, it's disgusting. So I think, Hodjo, what we should do next year without having a formal meeting is instill some of these ideas, at least the live heats thing. And secondary, just cap a number of competitors, eh? Have you guys found that it's a good way to go?
We had to do it because we want to run it in one day.
Yeah.
So we did the maths on a bunch of different formats and we're like, we have to limit it to this to be able to finish at 5 p.m. if we start at 8.
And we wanted to give everyone 2 30-minute heats. Like if you're going to come from, Blaketown or Cobden, wherever you are, like you want to kind of like just don't want one 30-minute heat then get, sent home. So we're trying to, at least get everyone the the opportunity to surf twice. And so that was that whole thinking. But should we talk about me being a nana last week, Floyd? And stressing.
Nah.
But the number, like, if you're going to do it, to me, if you're going to do it, you got to do it properly, and you got to get 24 people, just to make it a real spectacle. But like literally a week ago, maybe a little bit, we only had 12. And I was saying to Floyd, I said, like, we're getting better support from board riders than the book community. So it is hard, right? It's a kind of a bitch at the moment for a lot of people, but it's a big opportunity to just grow it, make it big. So
let's talk about the format. Sorry, Hodjo, you go.
I was just going to say I'll just come back. That's why we started the podcast and stuff like that, Paul, and we keep running our comp every year. It's just to try and keep the amp alive, because people have lost, because kids, jobs, you're getting older, it's just harder to get in the water. So we're just doing things like this to try and keep that spirit alive, And so, it can be a bit frustrating. Like, it can even be a bit frustrating for us sometimes with the Blaketown Challenge and the podcast and getting people to buy in, because I think they're like, oh, is this something I'm into anymore or want to commit to? But I think once you sort of break down that barrier, that mental block, they're like back in. Like I've had old crew who surfed Blaketown in the early 90s, some of their OGs, be back in the water out of Blaketown and come up and shake my hand and say, thanks for doing the podcast. They got you guys got me amped to get back in the water. So just little moments like that are fucking cool. It's the same with your guys' comp.
Definitely. I just wanted to talk about the format. So one day and how we're looking. So I've already gleaned that it's going to be 2 heats. Talk us through it.
So we talked about it, and like we could have 44 people. That would be 1 heat per person. If again the blow-ins come from out of town, we're going to at least give them a semi good time, 2 30-minute heats. So everyone gets to surf 2 30-minute heats straight into semi-finals, 45 minutes, and a final at 45 minutes. And the AGM at the Little Sprig. Maybe we should have an AGM at about 11 o'clock at the Little Sprig, just sort out world peace and boogie boarding in New Zealand.
Love it. So you surf 2 30-minute heats, and then is it your top 2 waves from each heat? So you get top 4, or are you going to go just your 2 best scoring waves from both heats that'll get you through to the semis?
Well, I thought we should do something different, and because we're surfing 2 heats with different people, we're going to try and randomize it. We'll have your top 3 waves from either of your heats put together. So it could be 2 from one heat and 1 from the other. It could be 3 from one heat.
Oh, yeah.
Because then if you get a shit of a heat over low tide or near low tide, or when there's not much swell, you've still got your other heat to fall back on. So it's your top 3 waves added together, and then the top 8 totals from all of the people go into the 2 semifinals.
Love
and
it.
It's just standard from there. Top 2 from each semifinal into the final.
Yeah, that's cool. So we back in the day adopted that very similar, and it was from the Shark Island. We basically stole the Shark Island format back in the day, and we've flipped it around over the years. As you do, you get a bit bored and you like to just mix it up. So we've changed things quite a bit over the last few years, but yeah, I love that. I love, just the basic of surfing twice. Like, who wants to get knocked out first round? It's the worst thing ever. So always, I reckon it's the best way to go. Surf 2 heats, and then if you have a shit heat, you've still got a second chance. I love it. Great format.
We have got like an hour kind of free time, like low tide. It can be, there's a lot of rocks and just it's not nice, or high tide. So, depending on the day, we've got a bit of flexibility just to either start late or, have a break halfway through just to,
Nice.
let it set itself out. So you'll be finishing late, but yeah.
Yeah, good shit.
It's all good.
Awesome. I think I had a couple of questions that I like to ask guests as we near the end of the episode. And I thought, because we're talking about Breaker Bay, I would ask both of you to tell us what your best wave ever you can think of you've had at Breaker Bay. And then just generally, what's your heaviest moment you've ever had in the water? Doesn't have to be at Breaker Bay, can be anywhere.
All right, have a think about that. Who wants to go first?
Just one thing though, you did talk about the sponsors before, so we talked about some of them, but just give them fair due. So now I'm trying to find the pick. So Floyd talked about AM & Co. and Wildfinder and the Boogie Bar. Thank you, Steve, for the science board. But we've also got Eastern Suburbs Sports Trust, which is, the Pack and Save New World kind of supermarkets joined together. So they've been very good, as have Wellington Airport, who've kind of sponsored Wellington board riders. So you'd think Wellington Airport and kind of surfing at Lowell Bay would be a big conflict, but they actually do work quite well hand in hand. Got Real Surf, which we talked about. After party and prize giving will be at Little Sprig. We're one of the first people to come on board. And Dunks and Ange have kind of got the T-shirts through Max Raft, which is a Queenstown concrete slab company. So they are the sponsors, and that's why we have got great prizes from them. And apparently some company called Fu Man Swoo. But
Swoo.
One more thing, Jeremy Bennett for the artwork, the poster.
I was just about to say that. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, don't forget to plug the artwork, dude, because he's awesome.
Yeah, it's been big. Thank you.
He's been doing like real surf artwork for a long time, kind of ex-sweater and Valve. I met him. He used to surf Breaker on a 9 foot, maybe 9 and a bit, and he'd just kind of catch it wave kind of before anyone else, and used to rip. And so yeah, he's done an awesome job, as you can see. And what we were talking tonight about at the Little Sprig was with one of his arty mates, Jordan, was whether we could take that poster, this won't be this year, but take that poster and turn it into a 3D kind of acrylic or rock or something kind of prize. So if we go again, watch out.
I would buy one of those posters for my office wall, man. They're so cool. And I think we'll probably hit up Jeremy to see if he could do one for our Blaketown Challenge as well. They're so good. It was really, and it's really eye-catching, you know.
Is that artwork going to be on the tee, or are you going to have comp tees?
So we got comp tees. So thank you, Max right. Raft and Duncan Ange.
Yeah.
So it'll be that that kind of poster on the back, and then it'll be Breaker Boog Challenge 2024 on the front with Max Raft logo. Everyone will get a poster. We've got spare posters, so Hodge, you'll get one. So
if he turns up.
Well, I'll give you two. One for him. So everyone will get a poster, maybe a couple. And if you come first, second, or third, what we've done is, I can't remember what they call them, but they're kind of proper posters and proper poster kind of paper, glite cheese or something like that. So it'll be an A2 copy of the poster and framed. So for first, second, and third. Sorry, fourth.
Just a thought before you guys answer Hodjo's questions. Has he ever been a comp at Breaker Bay before?
It's the first ever.
Oh, that's even more special. Yes.
So
very good.
A lot of firsts.
God, the champion's going to be fucking having some money on it. First one. Just like Frank Robinson. Oh, mate, I'd love to. Just like Frank Robinson has all the money on our bloody trophy, to my disgust, Frankie. Fuck. All right, who wants to go first on the Hodjo's question?
What were the questions?
I've got one answer to sort of the question. I remember turning up to Breaker Bay kind of not long after I'd come to Wellington, and it was pumping. And I turn up and Grelly's walking in and he's got blood all over his face. I was like, oh, how was it out there? And he's like, oh, it's no good. And I turn around, it's spitting barrels. I was like, I'll see you later.
I just remember there's a freaking age gap here. Thank you.
And did you guys mention about broken ribs earlier? Is that a thing? Is that at Breaker Bay?
Oh, yeah. It's quite funny. I think I broke my ribs one day, and it was just on the inside section, just kind of whacking the lip there, and just ended up on my back on the roof. And literally a year to the day, Dan Philly broke his ribs. It was just bizarre. So it can be, like I had to, I think, paddle. Danny wore in one day. He kind of got blew his ear open. A friend of mine is a bit of a grom stand-up. He just got picked. He's paddling back out on the inside and just got picked up and driven into the reef and kind of broke his leg and many places. So that's part of the fun, I suppose.
What about for you? What about for you, Grelly? Is like, what's your like most treasured moment out there?
Well, I do. I was going to say that day when I came in bleeding, and I must say Floyd just paddled out immediately and just took off deeper than anyone did, and flying in the air like a freaking seagull. But that day it was just, he went out and it was quite big, but the period just kind of increased, and it was just so, it's just so quick. So you got to, I suppose the older you are, the harder it is to get. And I just kind of literally waited for half an hour to get a wave, and I thought I was in the perfect position. And sure enough, it was just a free fall drop down into the, the reef and stuff like that. So I'll never forget that. So what was the other question? The best wave?
Yeah.
Well,
session.
I suppose back in the early days, like I'm getting a bit older, so you don't go to get as kind of hangdog as you used to. So, but like back in the isolated days, I used to surf that place just by myself many times, and it's just any surf at Breaker is a good surf. So, sometimes you get in the barrel, sometimes you don't. It's just my happy place, and just enjoy going out. So any one, it's really hard to pick one. But I do remember kind of being embarrassed looking at Floyd Blood,
Well, he's a little bit younger. He's a bit sprightly, isn't he? A little bit sprightly.
I got a few grey hairs, man.
Oh, look here. Look here. Have you got some frosted tips up the top, or is that just the lighting? Oh, it's just your natural glow. Natural glow.
My mouse grey.
And what about you, Floyd? You mentioned, seeing Grelly blooded up when you were paddling out. But yeah, have you had any epic sessions out there that are memorable?
Yeah, I had one a couple of weeks ago.
What?
Because I do shift work with the fire service, so there was no one out, and I just checked it after walking my dog, and it was pretty good, perfect size, and I was the only one out, and every kind of set wave came through. It was just easy barrel with a big ramp, and so one big invert that I was just so happy with, and I landed it, looked around, there's just no one. So
it's always the worst day. Who saw that?
I'm always like, oh, hopefully someone was watching, but no one was watching. So that was pretty cool.
That's the thing about Breaker. We're talking the capital city. I'd like to think it's not a bad wave, as would Floyd, and you could just be literally by yourself for a couple of hours. The amount of times I've over the years I've just been me. It's just incredible. Sometimes there's 12 or 13. Other times it's 1 or 2. Or it's bizarre. It's a finicky.
Seems like there's some similarities, with Blakeo's. Heavy wave. Not every average surfer can surf it. I guess for us, Blakeo's has so many different faces. It could be a fat point break, or it can be a hollow, reef-looking mutant wedge. Whereas Breaker's probably, as you guys have said, like it does have its different faces and changes, but Breaker Bay is a freaking wave of consequence. You got rocks poking out. It's a pretty crazy atmosphere. It's quite eerie around that area. I'd love to learn more about the heritage around there, because it does feel eerie. Or is that just me?
If you look in the hills in front of Breaker Bay, you actually see, I don't know if you can actually see, there was a whole lot of gun kind of emplacements, from the Second World War. So, that's kind of fairly real when and it is a well-known nudist colony as well too. So it's kind of many faces. So
yeah, I'm even thinking about the Māori heritage too. Like around that bay, there's vibes there. It feels like there's vibes there, eh?
Oh yeah, it's on the top there. So probably people come. It'd be a shame not to see it, but you just walk around that Breaker Bay. There's a lot of kind of history there. From hundreds of years ago, and some pretty amazing views.
Yeah, it's a special place. Fuck, I'm getting so excited.
And another cool part of that is the old Wahine sinking. They get some crazy big southerly swells, 8-10 meter swells rolling through there, and it just obliterates the place. There's a lot of houses that have to sandbag up, and they get smashed have to do insurance jobs every few years.
True.
Yeah.
It really is so raw on that south coast of Wellington.
Yeah.
Impressive.
We won't run it on 10, will we? Maybe 8.
Nah.
What, 10 meters?
Steve Fortune's such a hellman, he won't go down unless it's like 14 foot.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
He said he's not coming down unless it's
Actually,
8 to 12 meters.
Some of my best sessions would have to be with Steve off his jet ski. I did a bunch of that. I was lucky enough to be his apprentice back in the day, and we did some epic missions up north and around the North Island with that jet ski. So
yeah,
it's funny with Steve. We're definitely going to get him on the pod one day. But he was telling us in Rara that he was a real late bloomer, like 20s, early 20s. Didn't get into it.
Steve's annoying because he won't do it online with us. He says he has to do it in person, and then we were going to do it in Raro, and Joel forgot to bring all the gear. Thanks, Joel.
Yeah, I didn't forget. I was just worried about weight in the old bags.
No,
I heard you
didn't.
forgot the
You
audio
literally
equipment.
packed an hour before you left.
Yeah.
I did forget too. Yeah.
Have you just been to Raro?
No.
Or was this a few years ago?
We went on
last year.
We all went October last year.
Yeah. Have you been, Grally?
A couple of times, just little
cool.
kind of work type trips, and just snuck out for the odd little surf.
Nice.
Yeah,
I want to go to Samoa, eh? Like, fuck, I'll see that limited edition. They just dropped their clip with the boys, went over to Samoa, like Joe Clark and those guys. They love Samoa. They've gone a few times. Tyson Ryan, that dropped near from the Goldie. God, Samoa looks good. Have you guys been to Samoa before?
I've been there once.
Oh, cool.
Didn't get heaps of swell.
Oh,
but I'd love to go back for a proper surf trip.
Yeah.
Like a week out when there's swell hitting. I reckon it'd light up big time, especially for the booger.
Hell yeah. Yeah. It looks like some sick ones.
Yeah.
You can't beat Cruy. That's kind of the
Oh, yeah.
The peak, that's, some of the best surfs I've ever had at the peak in Mandiri. Like, it is kind of, I won't say turning into Bali, but, that place is pretty special.
Excuse my ignorance, Grally, because I haven't been to that region in Indo. I have been to Indo.
You might win that prize.
Who knows? But is Cruy, you said, is that close to the Secret Sumatra, like Dean Fergus's camp? Is that in the same sort of area?
Cruy is the village. So Secret Sumatra is in Cruy.
Oh, right. It's right there.
So it's right in there. So, my spot's a K or two down the road. So Secret Sumatra is right outside the peak, and then there's leftovers and there's impossibles, and then you just keep working down south, and that's where kind of right outside our place. And then if you just move around the corner, you go to Mandiri. So,
my God, have you ever fantasized about setting up your own little wee surf charter thing over there, or what?
Well, that's what it kind of is, I suppose, at the moment. So
low key vibes.
Danny's got some. We've got some plans, which I think you might know the people, but we'll keep quiet on them at the moment.
Cool. Sure. All right, boys.
It's a real journey.
Should we wrap this up then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Sure.
Fucking great yarns. It's
Thanks
great
for having us. It's cool to get back thinking about boogie boarding. It's taken a while, but I reckon it's kind of kicking off again for me, which is exciting.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Man. It's good to hear.
Yeah, appreciate your support. And look forward to seeing both of you in
come on, OG. Come on.
Hold me to it.
Just wait for a swell in another 3 or 4 weeks when his bank accounts get a bit more, fluid and a bit more pumped up. And
I'm sorted out.
Yeah, I can't wait. But yeah, me and Pakey will be there. 2 Blaketown lads doing the road trip on the cruising on the Inter-Islander.
Jesus.
Yeah, good luck.
That's a bit fucking risky.
I know.
You should have taken the Blue Bridge.
We're going back on the Blue Bridge because I tried to book something to go back, and it was like no crossings. Or I was like, what? Okay, cool. But yeah, I get this text today from the Inter-Islander saying, please bear in mind that your bookings can vary from times from 30 minutes to 3 hours. And I was just like, oh, Oh, that sounds terrible.
I just
But yeah.
had a kind of a bit of a. I thought, like, we're obviously waiting for a decent swell, and when there's a decent swell, those kind of pussy into Islanders are going, oh, come on, you know. And I just thought, shit, that's going to be an awesome competition, but because they kind of can't handle a kind of 3 or 4 meter swell, you'll just get left on the other side. So
I know what you're saying, because like
I kind of wet that out, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh my
That'd be
god,
sweet.
that's so true. Because like whenever it runs, there's going to be swell. So
Yeah, we're not doing it on a flat day.
Yes.
No, it's got to be bang
Mate,
on.
no matter what happens, mate, we'll get there. If we have to fly from frickin' Blenheim or whatever it is, Nelson through to Wellies, we'll do it, mate. We'll do it.
Westport to Wellington's a good flight. Sounds the edge of.
Shit. I'm just wanted to say before we go, I'm really excited about having the boogie board comp here with some decent swell, because it's just going to push what is possible at this little event.
Exactly.
You know, like we're always out there, me and Grally and Dunks and the crew, and we're just chilling, you know, big time chilling. There's no consequence because we're just riding the waves how we want.
Yeah.
But you get a bunch of people competing, and there's going to be some big ears, and there's going to be people going deeper and pushing the limits. So I'm really excited.
Fuck yeah. Oh, one thing. No, go Hodgie.
I was just going to say, and make sure, like, do your very best, see if you can get a videographer as well. And the other thing, I'm happy to lend my assistance for editing. I edit all of our comp videos and stuff, so I'm happy to put something together for you guys after the fact as well. You just have to have someone film.
Yeah, and I've been judging competitions for fucking 20 odd years, so you know,
he's corrupt.
We will rely on judges, corrupt or not. So people who
sorry, Jace.
People who kind of participating, we will need. But if he sounds like you're talking to Kevin, so the other people to thank are also NZ Surf Report as well too. They kind of
nice.
He used to live down in Wellington, so he knows what he's. So we're going to crank it up through him and Wellington Live, which have got 70,000 people. So there could be a spectacle. It just could be 24 people. Who knows? Time.
I was going to say that. Two more things. Live feed. Yes or no?
Yeah, I talked to
not this year.
Ed Surf Report, and I just said because he's got 30,000. And apologies, I can't remember your name, but I just said, he doesn't make a penny out of doing NZ Surf Report, and I'm sure all of us follow NZ Surf Report, but he doesn't make a penny. I said, if we can help you, if you want to do live YouTubing, whatever, because we've got enough to sort out, let alone all that type of thing. Yeah. So, next comp we could do all that.
Yeah.
But
no, fair enough. And second thing is drop knee.
Yeah, if you want to do it, go for it.
Is that going to be a multi thing?
No, it's one open division, and if you want to drop knee, if you get an epic ride, whatever, say you get an 8-point barrel lying down and you do the same thing drop knee, you're going to get a 10.
What if you do a drop knee snap in the pocket?
Yeah, if it's critical, you're going to get scored well.
Cool. So it is open for multi.
So it's open. We go as long as you're on a book, it's male.
Love
female.
that.
Shout out to Karen too. Awesome, Karen. Thank you for entering, and from Australia as well. That would be kind of good to see her. And drop knee, prone,
stand up on a book, whatever.
14, 80, whatever. Open one
knee,
24
double knee. Let's go, boys. Oi, thanks, boys, so much for coming on the pod. Cheers, Floyd. Cheers, Grelly.
Thanks for a good night.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, lads. It was awesome to meet you. Yeah.
You too. Make sure you come.
Yes.
Pressure's on. The pressure's on.
I'm looking at flights right now. You've got me looking at flights.
Yes. Sweet, boys. Thanks,
lads. Thank you.
Cheers, lads.